Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're going deep, really deep into the story of Margaret Grace Ives.
Ah, yes, the tabloid princess.
Exactly. Someone who, you know, dominated headlines and then just vanished decades ago. We've got some sources here that, well, they really peel back the layers.
Layers you might not expect. It challenges a lot of what people think they know.
Right. So our mission today, we want to get behind those headlines, look at this really powerful family legacy, and maybe uncover some things that make you rethink the whole idea of truth.
Yeah, get ready for some definite aha moments.
Because it really does make you question, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And what's fascinating right from the start is how the story itself, through our main journalist, Alice Scott, forces this question. Is truth this single, solid thing?
Or is it more like that saying, yours, mine, and the truth?
Precisely. This story lives in that space.
Okay, so let's start with Alice Scott, journalist for The Scratch. How does she even begin to find someone who disappeared so completely?
Well, it kicks off with a cryptic email. But for Alice, it wasn't just the tip. The source mentions her innate optimism.
Okay.
She just had this big success profiling Bella Girardi, the child star. Then, boom, this email lands. Saying Margaret Ives, who, vanished entirely from public view in the early 2000s, is maybe living under a fake name.
Where?
On this small island in Georgia, supposedly selling art.
Wow. Okay, so not exactly an easy lead to follow up. That must have taken some serious digging.
Oh, definitely not just a quick search. It speaks volumes about journalistic curiosity, maybe obsession.
Yeah.
She spent 2 solid weeks just digging.
Doing what, exactly?
Trawling old online message boards, forums, that kind of thing. Even wading through, the wild conspiracy theories.
Like what? The usual stuff.
Pretty much. The source mentions things like Elvis at a mall or JFK in Miami, just sifting through noise to find any faint signal, any possible connection from Margaret to Georgia.
Because she was such a huge figure before she disappeared.
Near constant attention. Paparazzi, gossip columns, the works. So, the idea of finding her after all this time, that's a powerful lure.
So Alice does it. She leaves LA after 11 years there and heads to Little Crescent Island, Georgia. What's her arrival like?
It's actually quite picturesque. The description is great. She finds this turquoise house sitting up on wooden stilts.
Oh.
And it has this hot pink hand-painted front door, very distinct. And there's a Georgian live oak tree that apparently makes her instantly think, home.
Huh. So it feels welcoming almost.
Yeah, it sets this scene like maybe Margaret found this perfect, quiet little hideaway.
But meeting Margaret isn't immediate, right? There's someone else first.
Right. First she meets Jody, described as brusque, with this faint, hard-to-place accent, maybe German.
And Margaret. She stays hidden initially.
For a bit, yeah. Then she finally appears. And the description, it's really something.
How so?
She's shrunk a few inches, apparently.
Yeah.
Gained some weight, but much of it muscle. Her hair, which was famously jet black, is now this mix of brown and silver.
But is it still her?
That's the key part. That sly sparkle in her blue eyes. It's still there. Just like in all those old photos. It's her, changed, but unmistakably Margaret Ives.
Okay, so Alice has found her. Mission accomplished. Not quite right, because there's a twist.
A big one. Almost immediately, Alice finds out she's not the only journalist there.
No way. Who else?
Hayden Anderson, a music journalist. And get this, someone whose work Alice actually knows and admires. Specifically, his book, Our Friend Len.
Wow. So a rival.
And not just any rival. He was apparently invited there by Margaret's agent.
Yeah.
So suddenly it's not Alice's exclusive story anymore.
That changes everything. Talk about pressure.
Instantly. You've got professional competition, but also this layer of personal intrigue because she respects his work. The source even mentions his reaction to seeing her as who the hell is Alice?
Oof. Yeah, that definitely throws a wrench in her plans. So she expects Margaret to start talking about her famous life, the glamour, all that. But that's not where Margaret begins, is it?
No, not at all. Margaret takes her way back to her great-grandfather, Lawrence Ives.
Lawrence Ives. Why start there?
It seems crucial to understanding the whole Ives condition, maybe. He was driven by this intense fear, this desperation. He'd lost his brother, and his sister was starving. He was terrified he'd lose her, too, thinking, what was the point of it all if that happened?
And his story is just relentless ambition, isn't it? Driven by that initial fear.
Completely. It's described as this incredible hunger. He finds this massive silver lode in Nevada, 42 tons.
42 tons.
Yeah, but he doesn't stop. He immediately uses the money to buy the local inn. Why? because he anticipates this flood of desperate men coming for the silver.
Smart move.
But intense.
Right. It shows this pattern early on. The more he had, the more he craved. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It became something else.
And we know all this because he kept journals.
Obsessive journals, yeah. Found later by his son Gerald. That's Margaret's grandfather. And eventually those journals were willed to Margaret's sister Laura. Okay, so Gerald Ives. He's the one who really builds the media empire.
He's the architect. He buys the San Francisco Daily Dispatch and famously changes its motto to "Where truth is king."
Where truth is king. That's ironic, given what we learned.
Deeply ironic. He revolutionizes things, goes after corruption, hypocrisy. He figures out, quote, "It isn't news that sells, it's headlines."
Headlines. Control the narrative.
Exactly. But that drive, that need for control, the source says for Gerald that bottomless pit of a nameless want felt less like hunger and more like rage.
So here's the core of it, maybe. This empire, built on controlling headlines, built on this transformed hunger and rage. How does that eventually trap Margaret?
It becomes the very machine that defines and ultimately consumes her. Think about it. A family legacy built on manipulating information, on crafting narratives.
Yeah.
And then you have Margaret, born into that, becoming this subject of that same machine, as she puts it later. Even if you're the one to build the monster, you're never going to be able to control it.
Wow. That foreshadowing is heavy. So back to the island. Alice and Hayden. They're supposed to be working on this story, but their styles are completely different.
Oh, polar opposites, it seems. Alice is described as perky, optimistic, always looking for the human angle, the emotional core.
And Hayden.
He's the mistrustful cynic. Dry wit, very guarded, focused on facts. He doesn't trust easily.
You really see it in their interactions, right? He's pretty cagey with her.
Definitely. She asks how he found Margaret, and he just shuts her down. You don't need to know. He even accuses her of trying to professionally thwart him.
Ouch. And even their breakfast orders tell a story.
Huh? Yeah, it's a great little detail. Hayden goes for egg whites, wheat toast, and the seasonal fruit. Very controlled, very precise.
While Alice is
Famished. Wants the peaches and cream, French toast. Totally different energy.
open, maybe a bit more unguarded.
It reflects that tension you mentioned, facts versus feeling. Exactly. And Hayden's cynicism, it seems rooted in his past work. That book, Our Friend Len, about someone dying. It clearly affected him deeply, made him more protective, maybe more wary of emotional fallout. He even worries about his memory, asking if forgetfulness is normal since writing it.
So he chooses privacy, control. She leans into connection.
Right. He picks the corner booth because it's objectively the best, the most protected. Alice tries not to take things personally, but admits maybe she should take a little more personally.
But it's not all friction, is it? There's that snake incident.
Oh, that's a classic moment.
Yeah.
They're walking near the dunes, a little snake appears.
And Hayden freaks out.
Totally. Sweeps Alice right up into his arms to get away from it. It's this sudden crack in his cynical facade.
Shows a different side. Alice calls him scrappy, right?
Yeah, it reveals this unexpected vulnerability beneath the guarded exterior. It's quite charming, actually.
Okay, let's shift to Margaret's parents. Freddie Ives and Bernie. Their story is also not what it seemed publicly.
Not at all. Another case of public image versus private reality. The tabloids had easy labels. The Playboy and the Shrew part ways. Simple, dismissive.
But the truth was way more complicated. Freddie, he was this derelict playboy in the papers, struggling with the family name, jealousy.
Right. And Bernie, she was this trailblazing lady director in Hollywood, fighting sexism constantly, like being told opportunities dry up for actresses around your age.
And their first meeting, not exactly love at first sight.
Huh. No, Bernie apparently said straight up, I thought he was a real prick.
Okay, but then, despite a public messy divorce, they become incredibly close.
Best friends. Talked every single day until Bernie died. It's kind of amazing. It shows how real connection can survive, even thrive, outside the spotlight, despite all the drama and personal flaws.
It really underscores that idea you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that people are always more than one thing, often a collection of contradictory traits. He couldn't stop being her husband in the difficult ways, but he also couldn't stop being her fan.
So this pressure of the public image, the Ives legacy, it clearly casts a long shadow. Freddie's anger, it's mentioned, was like his father Gerald's, flaring up when he felt he was losing control.
Exactly. That need for control, that burden of the name, it runs deep. And it raises the question, right? How much does that dictate your private happiness? What's the cost of trying to maintain that facade?
Then Margaret opens up about her sister Laura, And this is just heartbreaking. Laura couldn't handle the spotlight at all.
No, she struggled immensely. Margaret tried to help, tried to give her a normal experience. She planned this perfect night, a secret trip to see Cosmo Sinclair in concert.
Trying to lure her out of her gilded tomb, as the source puts it.
Give her a taste of freedom.
Yeah.
But it backfired. Horribly.
Did it happen?
The concert itself was apparently amazing, but afterwards, paparazzi. They found them. Laura got injured in the chaos. Photographed.
Oh, no.
It traumatized her, made her retreat even further. She apparently felt Cosmo's music would forever be linked to the night I lost my dearest friend, meaning, perhaps, her anonymity, her peace.
And things got worse for Laura after that.
Much worse. She ended up involved with this cult, the People's Moment plot, run by a controversial psychologist called Dr. David.
Oh, wow.
She was found later, just a wreck. She testified against him, but her testimony was undermined because she was so fragile. She felt stupid, worthless, trapped, just withered away, really.
But Cosmo Sinclair, his reaction during this time, it shows a different side of him too, doesn't it? Compared to how the press painted him.
A completely different side. The press called him a Pied Piper, leading young ladies to their doom. But when Laura was struggling, Cosmo actually suggested to Margaret they take Laura with them to Nashville.
Really? Why?
Out of pure empathy, it seems. He said to Margaret, "Your heart's broken without her, Peggy, and mine can't be whole until yours is."
Wow. That's incredibly loving and selfless.
It really highlights his character, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And makes you think about that family legacy again. The media glare didn't just affect Margaret. It had these devastating ripple effects on Laura.
Leading Margaret to say,
My family is the curse. It feels less like a metaphor and more like a diagnosis by that point.
Okay, so we're getting to the core secrets now. It starts with a mosaic.
Yeah, a tiny piece of art Margaret made titled Nicolette. And that name triggers something for Alice.
A connection.
A connection to Ruth Ives Allen, an ancestor whose unofficial middle name was Nicolette. And also to the Ebner Hotel, which used to be called the Nicolette. It's one of the small details that unlocks everything.
Alice's instincts kicking in.
Big time. Because it leads her to look closer at someone seemingly unconnected. Captain Cecil Wainwright.
The guy who owns the local place? Fishbowl. Charming guy.
But that's him. Except Alice discovers he's actually Dr. Cecil Willoughby.
Wait, Dr. Willoughby? The doctor who testified at Laura's trial?
The very same. And not only that, he was also there when Cosmo Sinclair's death was announced.
Whoa. Okay. Suddenly Margaret being weird about Cecil, making Alice sign that specific NDA about Hayden.
It all starts to make a terrifying kind of sense. Margaret had specifically said about the NDA, this includes the boy, meaning Hayden. She was protecting something huge.
And the truth is,
Yeah.
just devastating.
Utterly. Margaret had a secret daughter with Cosmo Sinclair.
After his accident.
Yes. Born after he died. And she named her Nicolette.
Nicolette, the mosaic.
The mosaic.
Yeah.
Cecil Willoughby, the doctor, delivered the baby. And he orchestrated the adoption.
Margaret gave her up.
She held her for just 5 minutes, apparently. So that was all it took to know she couldn't keep her. She felt she had to give Nicolette away to save her.
Save her from what?
From the Ives curse. From the media, the scrutiny, the feeling that she'd never belonged to herself. The same trap Margaret felt she was in.
This explains so much. And the whole reason she brought Alice and Hayden there. The supposed book deal.
It didn't exist. There was no job. Margaret admits it was all a game.
A game.
She was testing herself, maybe? Trying to prove that giving up Nicolette was the right decision. She'd hired an investigator, found Nicolette living this happy, normal life in Indiana, and needed to reaffirm that choice, perhaps by seeing if journalists could uncover it, and why Hayden wasn't really part of it.
Margaret says Hayden turned down the job anyway because he just plain disliked her from the start. Quote, that boy wants nothing to do with me, even as a subject. So she used Alice, essentially, admitted she used her to get your best work.
And her belief in the curse? It was fueled by those awful headlines after Cosmo died.
Completely. The Ives curse claims Cosmo. I blame Peg. If I can't have him, no one will. They painted her as pushy Peggy. Me, Margaret. Made her feel so ashamed, so genuinely cursed, leading to that final conclusion, my family is the curse.
It's the ultimate cost of that public narrative, isn't it? When it becomes so toxic, so unbearable, you take these extreme measures to escape it, to rewrite your own story, even through absence and secrecy.
Yeah. And what does this do to Alice? She's the one who uncovered it all.
She's reeling, hurt, confused, sad. She argues with Margaret, says Hayden deserves to know the truth.
But Margaret refuses.
Yeah, she asks Alice, basically, what good would it do? bust open his whole life for nothing. It's a really tough ethical spot for Alice.
And Alice sees the legacy in Margaret now, doesn't she?
Clearly. She sees Lawrence's guilt, Gerald's anger, Freddie's fear, all inherited, all playing out in Margaret's choices.
This whole experience, it forces Alice to make a big decision about her own life, too.
A huge one. She has this really moving conversation with her own mother. Her mom talks about Alice's dad who passed away, how he was ridiculous, always singing, but also beautiful, smart, hardworking.
And that makes Alice realize
That she doesn't want to miss out on more time with her mom. So she tells Hayden she's not writing the Margaret Ives biography, she's staying in Georgia.
wow, she walks away from the story.
She chooses her own story instead. It's this powerful shift from documenting other lives to prioritizing her own connections.
And Hayden, the cynic, what does he do?
He follows her. He stays too. Remember, he was worried the job would break his fucking heart. Maybe he saw where it was heading. He tells Alice something really lovely.
What's that?
He says, I think you live in a world that's more interesting than the one most people live in. And I wish I could live in it too.
Oh, so they...
Yeah. It becomes a love story. He even adapts Cosmo's famous song lyrics for her.
He does.
When I let myself dream, it's Alice. Alice on my mind. Alice all the time.
That's beautiful. And Alice finds her own project.
She decides to write a memoir about her parents. She realizes if we really care about something, we can decide to hold on to it. She rejects the superficial headlines for her own deeper truth. It's such a powerful resolution for her. She integrates everything she's learned. Truth isn't just uncovering facts. It's about choosing which stories matter, which connections define you. She moves beyond the two-dimensional, digestible public figures to embrace the complexity of real life, of love.
Writing her own love story, essentially.
Exactly. Not just documenting one, but living and writing her own.
So wrapping this up, we went into the tangled Ives world. Secrets, curses, public masks. And what we found is that truth, well, it's messy, it's multi-layered.
And often, the most important truths are the ones we build for ourselves, the stories we choose to live inside.
So maybe the question for you listening is this. In a world that often asks us to perform, to fit into neat boxes, what parts of your own story are really yours? And who are you building your world for? Something to think about.